Hold on a second. Check my Discord. Alright, let's get back to it. Alright, so Toronto has been doing the same thing where they run Orisa. I think they're getting used to playing Orisa more often because there's been a few pro teams that are doing it. But it causes you to play a bit slower. Ideally, you want to play Soldier with it, so that's just what they're doing. Because you want to poke it out, and then you're sitting here on the stairs. They're waiting for their shield. Then you get the shield out, and you start contesting together. You trade HP on Panker for beating their shield and then actually swinging out together, so then they're actually able to pressure members of the team. Panker was pretty aggressive there. I think he was too aggressive. I think yeah, I'm not sure. I think he's too far forward. He ends up getting rezzed and like walking back. That's fine, but okay, it ends up being pretty even, and even is good for the Orisa team.
And the sound barrier comes out for the Savages. That should keep everybody nice and healthy. They're already in control of the point and ticking up.
Savages just end up waiting in like a lot of these fights, and then engaging when they have the good position. So they end up trading, which is fine because they can just trade reses, and I think they end up doing that for both teams. But Dalton's playing too aggressive and he gets himself killed, so I think it's basically even right now. But Kowloon has been basically sitting with 5 people in his aura right now this whole time and just healing all of them. And they lose one. It's alright. Okay, so I think it's even right now, or Toronto has a man advantage, but they end up not really caring because they need to stand at the choke and spam them out. They don't want to like take these close fights with them without the shield because that's their advantage. It's taking the shield's advantage, but basically Moth rotates over here, leaves Hakume, and the tanks have already rotated over here, so you force the Zen to like have to walk all the way around and get like zoned up by the Tracer or walk right here. But Capo's allowed to just basically walk at him and they isolate him, and the shield wasn't down, so they'd miss position. I was really curious. Don't think they got enough advantage with their shield because they were landing poke, but they didn't end up pushing or putting enough damage on any of their kills. Or ends up switching already. Because Savage had control in the point though that whole time, they were able to cap it and be fighting with the point control. So like a lot of time's already gone for Toronto. And like they have ults, but they've already swapped, and so Savages has an advantage ult-wise. This is fine. Genjis are just diving the Zens. The tanks are playing too far forward, though. I would rather them be protecting the Zen.
Gonna find a kill onto Becky Lynch, and these fights on Nepal are very close, very back and forth.
Primal Rage now, going to be extending this team fight a little bit more. Capo trying to work off that. And now we're going to switch back over to Toronto
Toronto had advantage though, because they basically had Valk, so they could get free reses
Well,
off,
control of
and
the point still ticking up,
Savages
running
aren't running
over
Mercy.
80%. One or two fights away, but Panker and Dalton combining for 4 kills right there. Can they make it 5? There we go. Kraken Lagging gonna finish it off. 80.
Did the quality go down? Oh, it's still highest quality. That's so. I don't know. It's a bit blurry.
Built up for the Savages, and here comes Toronto Esports.
Here they come indeed. Toronto Esports able to get that cap with 86% on the board for the Savages. Now
That's what I
the
guess.
Savages will be regrouping and try to take an engage on the higher ground here. Ace of Spades going underground actually. And the team going to be making an appearance.
I like them retaking right here. The SWAT isn't utilized enough. Banker doing his thing. Oh, he boops people into the Tracer Pulse Bomb. That was huge. These people are going to get chased down and killed. So that is classic Dalton Panker. These two are really well coordinated.
Esports, they managed to get, I think, 3 out of 4 of those kills that Cool J was talking about from Dalton and Panker, while Ace of Spades was trying to disrupt them with that primal rage, trying to, jumpstart his team's energy, so to speak, trying to slap around with those monkey punches. But
Let's see where they end up pushing through again. Do they take high ground or go through main?
Around, but they stayed disciplined and they got all those kills.
They're just waiting for Hui to get a suit back.
It's pretty tough to do when you got a 1,000 health monkey on the point.
Definitely, for sure, of course, understanding emote. For those of you asking, this is a best of 5 as it is our grand final. And here we got to look at
okay, they end up protecting Zen here. Banker goes too aggressive, he gets res, they pop the Valk.
Well, now we have a
Double support ult, but I mean, I guess Savages popped Blade, so it's not the worst thing in the world.
Poro and Derek into these transcendences and into each other. Neither one gonna find any kills. Poro going so low.
Zen was off on his own though after that.
And res right back up. Off with the Valkyrie, keeping everybody nice and healthy for the side of Toronto Esports, and it's working out in their favor.
It's working.
You're starting to find some kills here. The Diva Bomb is up for Kraken Lagging, but
I don't really get to see the most of this fight because from Tracer's perspective.
99, and the Savages decisively lost that fight, and I don't think anybody's gonna get back.
Man, the story of that fight, I can tell you from my perspective, Dalton was not pressured. I mean, if you don't leave,
Savages used a lot of ults, but it seems like after the support ults finished, they weren't in good position, so they got picked off after the fact.
What the hell happened? That's exactly the case. Tracer instead. No main
Both sides
healer
going
still.
with the,
Yeah.
Let's see.
both sides going with the pig.
This map can usually be pretty swingy depending on the first fight.
They're just really relying on these environmental kills. It's become more important recently. Not really sure 100% why. Comps change over time, just happens. So,
Oh, that was a big pull, dude.
Ace of Spades, Panker, and Kraken Lagging both going down.
Well, they win that first fight. If you just suck both the tanks in.
That should give the Savages a free first cap, but
I think Toronto just plays super sloppy in this series where they're just making mistakes I don't normally see them make.
A giant mistake in my casting about 2 minutes ago. I said that this is the grand finals. I lied. This is a semifinal. So it's
Like Savages was just playing away from the edge, and then Toronto, Panker just pops his left shift too late.
clearly not enough.
Crackalakin's playing too close to the ledge.
Savages doesn't get spotted, able to get that Helix rocket onto Zen.
Dalton's trying to flank there.
Get out of there. Ace of Spades and Derek find
Yeah, like they don't have the same pressure on the shield and like the front line. Like he flanks there and like does a bit of damage, but he ends up like not staying around, and so the poke damage is good, but Capo ends up being there for the majority of the fight where he's actually shooting people. Or Dalton literally just got a helix and maybe a few bullets off and then was running for the majority of that team fight.
now we're still just here.
So in that situation, you'd want to either have Dalton feeding the information. It's like, oh, I'm getting zoned from this fight, let's try to walk away. Or knowing to burst on those people or trying to like follow up on them after the fact where he actually lands like a good helix, but he lands the helix and runs away. So, and then the rest of the team was walking in.
A lot of times it's very easy to concentrate because the shield is somewhat small and obviously not mobile.
Riptire from
I think this is another situation of miscommunication. Dalton's off on his own and Panker is like winning the shield battle. Like that was smart shield placement where it was after the fact and they won the shield war. But Dalton's off on a solo mission on the left.
They are just holding the same corner right here. in right here on the, I don't even know how to describe it. I guess it's to the left of the attackers. This Orisa shield is just doing work.
Mm-hmm.
I've never
Ooh,
seen a
Poro
team
finds
have this much
lots of
trouble.
damage and a kill onto Derek. Toronto Esports gonna push onto the point. Oh, Poro with a kill onto Calhoun while he's trying to res
Ooh,
up
they are
Derek.
forcing really
Ace
hard.
Spades Kappa go down. Derek's not gonna last long after that res. Panker finding a couple kills on that Orisa. And there we go, TO Esports. It
No,
took
once
them a
really
while.
used, they kind of
80%
just
built up for
forced
the
harder.
Savages, but they are in control of the
They were
point
able to get like
here.
an initial pick and
Toronto don't
force
use that
after the
single
tire
riptide.
gets a
That's
kill.
very interesting. Not at all. So,
They use
team fight. It happened so
Riptire to start
quickly.
it off. They use Riptire
Okay.
to start it off.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
They have ults to retake though.
You're right. The rest of it, no ults at all. So both teams with a big stack of ults, and Ace of Spades with another.
Ace of Spades is carrying so hard this game with his
Panker gonna be dropping down very
sucking
low.
people off.
Panker as well. Oh, Derek with a two-man Riptire on the point.
Yeah, he's carrying so hard. Like they're winning fights off him just like knocking people off the map.
Great shot from Derek didn't connect because Capo finished him off.
Because then it's unresable, and then you just get the straight up man advantage, and you're gonna have more shield damage. You can just walk onto the point after the fact.
Honestly, yeah, that was probably the
And
best
Dalton
play
is
of
not having a
Esports
good time this
throughout
game.
this
He's
tournament. Savages
swapped to
moving
Pharah.
drastically and very methodically. They take off that Zenyatta, got the halt down onto them, and just dismantled Toronto Esports. Toronto now getting a strong
This Orisa duel where they just run in each other's face, put shield at their feet, and try to shoot each other in the head is hilarious.
They're using so many ults here. Supercharger, Whole Hog, and I think Valkyrie. No, Transcendence came out as well. Supercharger goes down. Panker goes down. Derek is
Savages had their Valk for the later fight though, and so they get the reses and they just get to sustain.
with yet another kill, and the Savages answer back on
Wow.
Satan. We're going to the third part of the
Ace carried so hard that map.
tiebreaker map, and
of Overwatch. Get into the brawl. You like that?
I did like that, yeah. I
I need
mean,
to work on my movie announcer voice more.
that was pretty good. And both teams coming out with the pharmacy. We've seen Poro and Derek going at it before today, and it's going to be the trilogy of this saga. Pharah v Pharah. We'll see who comes out on top. Right now, neither one's really paying attention to the other. Both trying to pay attention to the ground. Derek getting
Some poke right here. They're playing like units with each other. They're playing like 2 or 3 man units everywhere.
Capo gonna find an early kill onto Pager, but Dalton answers right back as the Savages fighting for control of this point. Poro goes so low.
No, it's when Pharahs fly too close to the ground, the other Pharah usually gets the advantage and is able to shoot them in the back when they don't expect it. That's just what happened to Poro. I think he got too aggressive chasing a kill, and Derek was able to just shoot him in the back, and then Derek's just able to clean up this fight.
Derek finding another kill. There's 3 in a row. Derek on the Pharah, proving his dominance this time around. Poro's gonna have to respond, but the Savages with that first cap.
You know, I've been keeping my eyes out on it ever since EM Rustar brought it up in chat. Derek has been specifically targeting the tanks first, or that's been his priority rather. And if you watch Poro, his priority has been healers. And the way that plays out is that Derek
Who didn't have a suit for a while, he dies.
and they're able to come back and prioritize.
Wait, who didn't have suit for a while, and they just hit him directly, I think.
And it ends up more often than not, Poro's not able to get the kills down onto the healers because they're being pocketed. And here,
Ooh, that barrage wasn't very good. I think he initially wanted to just forcefully use it, like he wanted to just conk himself onto the point and then kill the people who were already on there, but really wasn't anyone on there to hit. And Toronto ends up just playing slow. I think too slow though. They give time for Hui to come back.
Had all the advantage there, but the Savages say, I don't think so. Derek goes down and Capo puts the team on his back.
Yeah, beautiful awareness by Krakalak, and Derek with a really, really risky.
A lot of these fights are won with just like the Pharahs winning initially and then having the Mercy punish the Mercy after the fact.
New fire picture for people that are on fire, like it's different now. It's red and blue. Look at that.
It's red and blue, yeah.
Toronto
You know,
Esports.
we want both colors. We don't
Yeah,
want just the
looking
red
for an
team.
engagement on the site now. Going to be dropping down one healer already.
Dalton seems be a bit off this series.
Taking out 2 picks in favor of the Savages. Derek doing a lot of work. Panker, however, very angry, and Ace of Spades here sticking with his diva teammate, choosing.
Toronto's just trying to force with like man disadvantages. Like they're fighting this fight right now, but they're trading evenly, but
And
Savage
look
is
at
just
this.
able to keep
The
holding on to
Savages
the point,
continue to fight back against this TO offense, and they're close to winning this
and they're
match.
using ults
Ace of
when they're
Spades
losing
revival
fights, which is
remains,
just
and then we
really,
can
really
see
bad.
Panker back onto the point so that Hui could get the Diva Bomb kill.
Because they used 4 ults there.
Excellent team
4 ults
work,
and
knowing
weren't
that
able to
Ace of
retake.
Spades obviously can't get the solo kill.
But because they used them so spaced out and weren't like coordinatedly
Definitely
using
super
them, that just gives them a
coordinated.
like
Sound
huge
barrier for the
disadvantage.
Savages gonna keep everybody nice and healthy. Sound barrier comes up for TO as well. Here comes a Valk, and here comes a Bronx from Derek, but he says, I don't think so. Kraken Lagan gonna fly right into him. Louis gonna
And they
take
just
that
have to
Kraken
just
Lagan.
throw bodies onto
Derek
the
Kevin
point.
finds Poro. Reses all over the place from Hakame on the Valk, and Becky Lynch as well. Can TO Esports find the advantage here? The pulse bomb comes out from Dalton. He's gonna demech Hui, and the Savages on the point. Capo fighting so much damage. Can he take anybody down? Kraken like pop that
Well,
flag.
they aren't able to
Okay,
kill this
so
Mercy.
low. He's gonna
Finally are
fly
able
away.
to.
Flies right into the waiting arms of Ace of Spades feather gun. And look at this. Moth going down. Dalton's all by himself. There he goes. The Savages going to take Nepal and the
Damn.
series. And what
Toronto is
probably
just
should have
super
been a
sloppy this
dominant
series, and so Savage just get the win.
Fantastically done by the Savages.
I'm not used to seeing them play so sloppy. It was really weird seeing it this series. Like they made so many like one individual mistakes, and usually they play greedy in certain areas. Like Panker's positioning will be pretty greedy, but they're usually used to like punishing it. So like they'll give up. Say like Savages will be able to punish. Just saw a squirrel just leap onto my fucking roof from a branch in my room. It's pretty funny, but usually Panker will play super aggressive. They'll create room for his backline, and then Toronto will actually punish the room that their backline has been given. But it just seemed like Panker was playing too aggressively, and the people on his team weren't able to follow up on his plays or on the room he was making, and Savages just saw that that like gap was made and were able to like really punish the Panker being too far forward a lot. So it was really interesting. Really weird too, because Toronto's usually like super clean with their positioning and don't really get punished for much. It was pretty strange. I'm trying to think if there's any other matches to watch. I think there's more in the series, or more to watch.